Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to some of our friends in Europe. Um, Welcome to Poetry in Brief. This is our second session, and our theme is Thorns. You broke my fucking heart. This is recorded, and on it will go on YouTube. So if you don't want your face or your name on YouTube, you can change that now. To get started today, I'm doing something a little bit different. I want to start with a prompt to help us with a little bit of writing. So I'm going to show the prompt and I'm also going to show the definition of thorn, which I think has some interesting synonyms and some interesting ideas behind it. So you can share, if you would like to, what you'd like to say in the chat if you'd like to respond to the prompt. I'll start with that today. So the prompt I chose, and you can change it as much as you'd like, is nothing breaks your heart more than, and then just a blank. So if you'd like to respond, you can, sharing that in the chat. I thought some of the interesting things about thorn were some of the similar words like discomfort, annoyance, difficulty, irritation, and obstacles. I'm going to set us a timer for just like a minute to work on that prompt. Share in the chat if you'd like. I love that. Samantha said ourselves. True. Candace said an unhatched egg. Hmm, interesting. Derek said beauty. Antagonist. Great, thank you. You can keep responding there and you're welcome to talk to each other. And then we'll have some time at the end for people to share their socials or anything you'd like to. We're also going to highlight our EICs that have come to join us at the end and give them a chance to talk about any upcoming submission opportunities that we'll have for writers. So I'm going to just read the names of our invited readers. This is an invited series. I find people that I think would fit the theme well and whose work I'm interested in and send out a little invitation. So we won't have time for others to read today, but do reach out to me if you'd like. Our first reader is Samantha Terrell. Our second reader will be Tommy Wyatt Blake, then Cierra G. Rowe, Nina Nicole Garner, Derek Thomas Dew, and Caitríona Walsh. Okay, we are going to start with a brief reading from Samantha Terrell. And then I do ask a couple of follow-up questions. So it's a little bit of a talk back, a little bit of an end conversation. So Samantha has been writing for a long time, like 25 years, probably longer, but publishing for about 25 years. She has a new book out, Felling Trees with Low-Hanging Fruit. And it's kind of a compilation of kind of like best ofs in a way, I think, at least that was my understanding and from the reading I've done so far. She has a new book coming out, Survival Instincts, with the Poetry Lighthouse. So we'll be publishing buddies. And she's also the EIC of Shine Poetry Series. Well, you have a lot going on, Samantha. Samantha, I'm going to turn it over to you to share your piece or pieces on the theme of heartbreak.
Thank you, Rachel. It's really nice to be here, and I appreciate the invitation for sure. So yeah, and thanks for the nice introduction there. I I am looking forward to releasing the fifth issue of Shine Quarterly. It should be coming out this week. I had a slight delay. I was hoping for it to launch yesterday, but it's coming out this week. So watch for that. It's an international poetry series. So do you want me to just open with the poem that I brought to read and we just go from there? Okay. So this is an older poem and it was written as a reflection on an even older experience. But on the topic of heartbreak, it is vagus nerve regeneration. When you tore my skin off, it was only an encasement. Besides, it was too late. I was already exposed, oversensitive, raw nerve endings seeking shelter from years of hate. Dependency brushing too closely up to my naturally thick skin until it had eventually been rubbed thin. Your job was easy. A vulture picking at fresh meat, leaving behind only an unkempt heap of me. So it made sense to spare you the blame, due in part to the inevitable shame of allowing myself the torture of becoming an anorexic carcass. But also, since a vulture shouldn't be denounced for simply fulfilling its nature. They say nerves recover in a manner of about an inch per month. But regeneration depends on the severity of the injury. Inches and months become miles and years on the journey from heart to head. But none of it matters. Once the 1.1 mile per hour neural message is finally received, healed. That's vagus nerve regeneration. Thank you.
Thank you, Samantha. Can you tell us a little bit about how heartbreak has shaped you as a person and an artist? And you could even share about this specific poem or just generally.
I think it probably would apply best to just speak to this poem specifically. Um, I think that the poem was written to indicate that we allow ourselves a certain vulnerability. We allow ourselves um, heartbreak to happen to us. And in this poem, as I said, it was a reflection upon a heartbreak, an old reflection on an old experience. And I think it's easy to say in hindsight, right? That we put ourselves in a position, or maybe circumstances put us in a position that creates this opportunity for heartbreak to occur to us. And anyway, certainly that was my experience, and that was what the poem was meant to convey. But that we also can allow ourselves and can find ourselves in circumstances for healing. And it is true, time heals all wounds, right?
Thank you for sharing that with us. And what are you? I like to like juxtapose. I changed the questions this time a little bit because I want to juxtapose heartbreak with like pride. So I want to ask you, what are you really proud of that you're doing right now artistically?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I like I say, I really am proud to be editing Shine Quarterly, and we've published 150-ish writers from all over the world this year in the inaugural year. And so I am just continually just impressed with the quality of work that comes my way, and it's an honor to edit that. But I am also proud to have Felling Trees out there. Low Hanging Fruit Publishing out of California is the ones that published that for me. It came out in September, and it was in the works for a while, actually. And it is kind of a snapshot of my work over the past 25 years. It's not chronological. Some people have asked, is this like a chronology? No, it's just I just grabbed the poems that I felt strongly about and that I thought worked well together and compiled that into the manuscript. So there are several certainly newer poems in the book, but yeah, some date back to the early 2000s as well.
Thank you, and thank you for being here, and thank you for your work on Shine, because I don't know about everybody else, but for me, I wouldn't be here right now if it weren't for all the literary magazines, and being accepted and being rejected too, that taught me so much. So thanks, Samantha.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you.
Our next reader is Tommy Wyatt Blake. I mean, you're kind of hard to keep up with because you have so much going on. I'll highlight a few things though. I have tried though. I see you around all the time. One is this, which I think is really cool. I really like what they've done over at Ethel Zine. This is your book, Mutually Assured Destruction chapbook. I love this, Tommy. And then you also have For Your Entertainment with Troublemaker Firestarter. Is that out now or still in pre? It's out now. Okay.
It's out now.
Okay, great. And then Vinegar Press, you have a digital called Crash, and this is a secret, but we're about to be publishing buddies, Tommy, over there, but that's not released yet.
Ooh,
So I'll look forward to working with you more.
that's
All right,
really
Tommy.
exciting.
Yeah. Okay, Tommy, can you please read your piece or small pieces that you chose on the theme of heartbreak for us?
Sure. So I will be reading one from For Your Entertainment, and it's titled Insert Long Title Here, Type of Floor Drop About Your Relationship to Arson. And it's after Fall Out Boy's Nobody Puts Baby in the Corner. They say you're afraid to flick on a lighter as they uncork a bottle of kerosene. And this is why they want to leave you in the potential of ruin, bracing to be burned when they're bored of you for not taking risks, or for when you're too stuck in choice paralysis because you don't want change to force you out. There's smoke soaking through your bedroom door frame, long sleep rendering in the distance. A trick of dream for you to respawn in an unskippable cutscene you think is punishment, and welcome it with open mouth. Your tongue star-studded in scorch white. You breathe in a goodbye they texted you from the other room. Their charm not flame resistant, but you don't know that yet. And you're wondering why you can't feel the hurt if you can see it consuming you whole.
Thank you, Tommy. Now, really, I've read a lot of your pieces, and a lot of them are about heartbreak. So, can you talk to us about how heartbreak has shaped you as an artist and person?
Yeah, that is very true. A lot of my work is centered around heartbreak. Um, and it stems a lot from personal experiences and relationships I've had that I don't really need to get into all the details for. But that's definitely shaped my work and has been, I guess, a long-standing inspiration, whether it meant to be or not.
Thanks, Tommy. What are you really proud of right now?
I mean, I'm really proud of my works with For Your Entertainment and Mutually Assured Destruction. I think those have been my favorite two releases I've been excited for in a while. But I've also been trying to do more in-person events, and I've been finding that very fulfilling, especially with meeting other like local writers and artists. That's been really nice.
Oh, good, Tommy. I'm glad you're finding such a nice community. I think that's really important for all of us to have that community space. Thank you.
Thanks.
Our next reader is Cierra G. Rowe. Cierra is a multi-genre, multimedia artist. I've really enjoyed her paintings and digital work as well. And then I'm excited that you have two books coming out, and so you'll have to tell us more about those. The Devil Bakes a Cake for His Wife is your debut poetry collection. Yay! Coming out in 2026. And then Mood, which you can tell us more because I don't know as much about that one, which is writing about art. And I did want to share my two favorite pieces of yours. This one is Aloof. You can see this, right?
Oh, I can, yeah.
Okay, good. This one is aloof, love, and this one is sex. And I just think these are so great right next to each other. I love the darkness. I love the contrast. I also really like to creep around on your on your artofsierra.com and see how you've changed as an artist and like the different ways that your art is changing over time. And that's a really interesting journey from like your still lives to kind of these darker pieces now that you've been doing.
Thank you. I don't even know what to say. I'm so flattered, and that means so much to me hearing that. To start, my debut book of poetry, The Devil Bakes a Cake for His Wife, is actually it's actually kind of tied in with my grandmother, who my poem is actually about. She used to have this strange saying that always stuck with me, and that's how the title came about. And regarding mood, um, I love writing kind of abstractly, kind of just letting it flow. And that's essentially kind of a facet of what mood is about. Mood is it's a lot of things. So um, it's more like how I see things through the perspective of not only a writer but also an artist. Lots of kind of abstractness there, and definitely a lot of depth and emotion, and those should both be out in 2026.
Great.
Do you want me to read the poem? I'm nervous a little bit.
We're all nervous, Cierra. I'm terrified. Okay, go ahead, Cierra.
Okay. This poem is called Moonshine. It's about my grandmother who passed away. I will fight it, tooth and nail, and in the end, it won't prevail. Candles, sunshine, stars, and lamps. The darkness won't get through. I'm not used to coping in this way. Nowhere to run from this pain. But deep inside, I hear a voice. The darkness won't get through. I'm writing this to try and show, try to mend, try to grow. It's so hard to let go. The darkness won't get through. Around me, your presence swirls, your smile and your soft curls, your spirit in the skies and moons. The darkness won't get through. I know you never went away. I can see you on some days. I can hear you too. The darkness won't get through. Your strength trickled down to me through time and birth and agony. I'm standing and I feel you. The darkness won't get through. I will fight this punch by kick. I won't let the sadness stick. Lord have mercy, it's so hard. The darkness won't get through. On sunny days, you're around. On rainy days, you're around. I know you're not gone. The darkness won't get through. We keep in touch in special ways from time to time on random days. It's not enough, but that's okay. The darkness won't get through. Take a beating and learn to fight, learn to crawl, then learn to thrive. Laugh and cry and dry those eyes. The darkness won't get through. I really miss you.
Mm. Really liked the ending, Cierra, and what you did with repetition and rhyme. I'm always really impressed by people who use rhyme because when I do it, it sounds like a sad elementary school teacher, which unfortunately is what I used to be. So I loved that. Cierra, can you talk to us about how heartbreak has shaped you? And if that's a little bit too difficult to talk about now, you can skip ahead to talking about pride.
Um, yeah, I would say that, and apologies for being emotional. It always happens. I try to keep a lid on that, but it completely shattered me. Just to stick with regarding my grandmother. She's my only grandparent, so it was earth-shattering, and yeah, it completely shattered me. And everyone is presented with that choice. When you're shattered, do you stay shattered and you let the pieces float away, or do you try and catch them, try and catch what's left of you and put yourself back together? I had pieces everywhere of myself laid before me, and they were so jagged. So even putting myself back together was painful. But I did it anyways. And because I felt like I was doing it in the dark, by the time that I had put myself back together, I did not recognize who I was. And that reflected in my poetry and my art because I felt like I was back at square one, like I was relearning everything, like I was a different person. I definitely was because it changed everything. And I would say that the biggest impact that it's had is dissipating any strings that had held me back. I think that on some level, everyone kind of wonders, am I saying too much? Am I saying the wrong thing? What if people don't understand? What if all of these what ifs that hold a person back from actually expressing what they really truly feel compelled to express? And those strings dissipated completely. So I don't have a filter when I write. I don't have a filter when I create art, when I paint. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, we can definitely see and feel that. I feel like your response was a poem. Go back and take some inspiration from that response.
Thank you.
What are you proud of right now?
Um, right now I think I'm most proud of these newest paintings. Because like I said, I don't feel that I held back before, but I feel that this happening just I think it brought the real me to the forefront. Um, on in some ways, I'd like to think that the real me has always been there, but it has changed so much. And I had lost my uncle passed away nearly a year to the day after my grandmother. So then it was just like, I can't do this. I've got to do something different. I didn't have a choice in it. It just happened. So it's kind of like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly, only it's almost in reverse because everything is so painful. And in that pain, I had to find beauty. I had to turn it into beauty somehow, some way. And that's why I'm most proud of these paintings. They're very raw, and I don't feel that I'm holding back in them.
Thank you, Cierra. A lot to be proud of. Are you still doing the sale on artofcierra.com?
I am, yeah, yeah. I'm currently doing a sale. That'll be going on until New Year's Eve.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Thank you.
Here.
Our next reader is Nina Nicole Garner. Her debut collection came out recently, and it's Let Want Be Hunger with Crying Heart Press. She has a follow-up composition of Returns, also with Crying Heart Press, and she's doing their first zine compilation and a lot of other things. You're very busy. And Nina, one question. When is the deadline for that Crying Heart Press zine? It's coming up soon, right? It's real soon. Okay, you'll tell us. Okay, Nina, we will ask you to read your piece about heartbreak, which you have many of, because I've been reading your Let Want Be Hunger. I've read it a few times now. So I've seen a lot of those pieces. Something's going on with your sound. I'm checking.
I'm not tech smart.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know
We
how to
hear you.
unmute it.
No, we hear you now. You got it.
Okay. The deadline is actually December 21st.
Oh, okay. That's further away than I thought.
Yeah,
Okay.
we still have them. So yeah, December 21st. That'll be when it is. That last poem, I have to say, made me really emotional. So it really got me. I was trying so hard not to cry. So do you want me to go ahead and start my reading, or?
Yeah, if you would prefer to do the back end and talk for a little bit, you can do that first. If you wanted to wait to read, that's fine.
So the poem that I am choosing is coming from my next book that will be out in February. And it's what I consider maybe the most personable and vulnerable poem I've ever written. And I thought that this would be a great place to reveal that. So I'm going to go ahead and read it. And then we can talk about the questions. It is called Two Dreams Live Long Enough to Die. After my sister's wedding, in the church, lights out, barefoot, cake in hand, swaying alone in the dark to the sea of love, just like we did 7 months before on a wooden dance floor in New Orleans. Trying to feel you somewhere, anywhere, somehow. Face wet, sticky fingers, waiting for you to make your way back to me like you said you would. Begging and bargaining with God again. Please, please forgive me. Bring him back to me, and I will never leave, and I will never ask for anything again. A girl praying for something the woman I am now knows she was never going to get. You didn't have to break my heart to leave me. Just leave me waiting long enough to realize I am waiting alone. The truth is, letting go is harder than loving you, and loving you is its own kind of leaving. Endings don't always look like a slam door. The truth is, I would rather keep waiting for you to walk back in, both feet on the floor, than admit that I will love you my whole life, and you will not be in it. Sometimes the end looks like waiting so long, the waiting becomes the answer. I've loved you this long, why stop now? I've loved you so long, I don't know how not to. I was so young then, I didn't know. Now I do. And there's no excuse for leaving, the one you never want to lose. You were the man I wanted to marry, the only last name I ever wanted that wasn't my daddy's. I saw it so clearly, inherited hem sticking to my calf like glue. 8th of June, blue roses, you. My daddy there to give me away, my hand in his, then your hand in mine. He's been gone almost 2 years now, and that dream, with your name on it, that life I pictured, it's gone too. I saw 2 dreams live long enough to die. The end.
Heartbreak on all sides, lots of different facets of heartbreak in that piece. And that will be in Composition of Returns.
Yes.
Okay, coming out in February with Crying Heart Press. And they
Yep.
have a great model, very accessible because the shipping's free and the books usually run, $5 or $7. So great.
Yep. They're fantastic to work with.
How has heartbreak shaped you as a person and an artist, Nina?
It's still shaping me, and I don't know what the end will look like, or if there is one. The biggest thing that it's taught me is not to wait to love someone out loud because there really is such a thing as too late. I always thought there would be a next time, and I let pride get in the way. I said things I didn't mean, I can't take them back. And being heartbroken has forced me to confront the parts of myself that are capable of hurting people I love. And that's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. And I'm not going to pretend that it made me stronger or that I'm better off. It's not that clean. I'm a woman who was a girl who loved a man and still does, and it's over. And that's it.
Well, thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing that with us. Now let's a happier thing. What are you so proud of right now?
I am really excited about the zine that is about to come out. It'll be available through Crying Heart Press in March. I'm just so excited for that. It's so wonderful working with Vaughn over there, and we click and we're on the same page all the time, and we've gotten so many submissions that have been inspiring, and the quality is amazing. I'm really looking forward to that. And we have a secret project that will be announced after Christmas. I can't give any details about it, but it's gonna be amazing. So, yeah, that's what I'm really excited about and proud of right now.
Okay, Nina, give us a tip because I haven't submitted yet, but I'm planning to for the Crying Heart Press scene. What's one thing you're looking for that you haven't seen enough of?
So our theme has been Waking the Dead, and there's so many things that you can do with that. I picture Ezekiel in the Valley of the Bones. I would love to see somebody talk about bringing back parts of themselves that have died. Um, Talking to people they've lost. I would really like to see some political pieces, to be honest, about waking those who are not paying attention to the world. Anything that is bold. Like I want it to shock me. I want it to be something that I think about for days and days after. So that's what we're looking for.
All right, great, Nina. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I bet you'll see some of these names up here come through in the next couple of weeks. I see Candace making notes. I see you.
I really hope so. Send it to me. Send it to me.
Okay, well, I wish I could say things were about to get lighter, but they are not. We're going to Derek Thomas do. Derek has a book out from 2019. It won the Test Site Poetry Prize. It's called Riddle Field, and that prize is for a book about environmental and social justice, like a poetry collection that speaks to that. I also really like Derek's art. I'm a sucker for New York, which is, I'm sure we can all agree, is the greatest city in the world. And that's okay. I'm the moderator, so you can't disagree with me. And I really like how Derek captures New York and does this black and white in just such an interesting way, especially because you can walk through the city and be in the exact same place that Derek was and have seen it differently yourself. This is one of the pieces I like, but you don't title them, do you, Derek?
No,
Okay.
no. Generally, no.
And then this one was the other one that I pulled. I like that because, like, of course, we've all looked at a building with air conditioners, but I've never seen it this way. So I really liked that. Okay, Derek, share your piece about heartbreak with us.
All right. Thank you. It's an honor to be here, and thank you for that lovely intro and displaying some of my flicks. I've got two. They're fairly brief, and they are both about the same person who I lost in 2020. One of us thinks of another. I stepped onto the frozen balcony and faced the next stretch of years. Yet another long time without you, and I realized I like leaving places. I don't really enjoy arriving anywhere, since I avoid much of you that is everywhere. But there is, in the act of slipping away, of withdrawing myself, gaze fixed on nothing, a gap in location where, briefly, I need not hide my silences and my rage, an increment of liberated shame, uncurling forth without light, that single gentle moment of pure sightless edge, when shape is not read between falling raindrops, when I am made only of the open space between trees. This next one is called The Continuity. The cat lingers outside, waiting for you in the dark. It's just him and me now, still here as if our little nowhere has something to protect. The cat was not in that horrible white room with us at the end, but he does all he can to finale the light with a yawn. He appears to take the miles which we travel together as flowing forth in our direction from wherever it is out there you have wandered off to. Now, he and I having dinner together is somehow creative. Not that you might suddenly walk into the room, but that the story of you might still be added to. Thank you.
Thanks, Derek. Okay, as part of this series, I try to warn people about things I would ask them about. And Derek, I'm about to not do that to you. I want to change the question a little
No,
bit.
you can do. I'm
Okay.
cool with whatever.
I
Yeah.
want to change the question a little bit and ask you, how has your art changed from this event in your life, like since this event in your life?
Um, I guess chiefly it's given me further entree to paradox. Um, both of those poems are sort of paradoxes, particularly the second one, because in the second one, it's like I'm attempting to accept the loss of a presence by exploring the idea of adding to that presence, right? And that's paradoxical. I think it echoes the paradox of losing somebody you love. They don't cease to exist per se because they're still within you, but they're not here. And that type of nothingness is very hard to corral because the very nothingness is sort of denatured by the language that you're using to even address it, right? It becomes so it's a paradox, and I think that I think it echoes the greater paradox of poetry, which is trying to say the unsayable.
Thank you, Derek.
Sure.
And can you tell us something that you're quite proud of right now that you're working on or that you've had come out?
Yeah, I don't know proud, but I'm very happy because I recently completed a manuscript of poems. It's sort of about where we are as a culture, but there's the poem proper on the page, and then there's a made-up quotation by a figure living in the world of the manuscript that further comments on what you just read. So it'll be like there'll be a poem, and then it'll be a quotation by the banker or the peasant or the thief or the clown, whoever is existing in that. I think there's the billionaire. And I'm just happy about it. It seems to be being received very well. I think most of it is out at this point in journals, and I'm happy about that.
Okay, I saw some of these pieces. I didn't understand, when they're taken apart in pieces, you can't tell what's happening. Okay, so this is coming from a collection that will be in this. Great.
Yeah, almost every poem has this like addendum that's a quotation by a said figure in the world of the poem, which is really just the United States of America as we know it today.
What's the name of that? Or can you tell us, or you might not be able to if you're sending it out?
No, the name of the manuscript is No Use for a Key.
No Use for a Key. Okay, great. Well, we'll be on the lookout for that. Keep me updated.
Thank you so much.
Our final reader, it's getting quite late for you over there, isn't it? Is Caitríona Walsh. She's an Irish writer, educator, musician. I mean, she does a lot of things. You might know her as Tone Down the Blonde on Instagram, where she creates really beautiful visuals to highlight her work and the work of others. And also, I wanted to ask you about Gut Punch and your relationship with that. Maybe you can tell us about that at the end too. Caitríona, can you share your piece with us? You're muted.
Yeah. So it's a damp and midwintry night here in Ireland and perfectly aligned with this theme. So thank you, Rachel, for the invitation to participate. It's my inaugural live poetry reading, so it's exciting in spite of the heavy subject matter. So as with some of the other readers, this theme for me is synonymous, not so much with romantic strife, but with loss. So I'm going to read two short poems, one dedicated to my late dad, Gerard, who's pictured here with our little family dog, Daniel, climbing mountains many years ago, and the second for my PhD supervisor, Daniela. So, AWOL. I dreamt of your gravestone on a dire new moon in May, grey furred with lichen, lime edges strangled by bindweed. I chewed the pristine blooms between my teeth to see if I detect the tangy phosphate citrus of your bones, their trickling decline to compost. I prized apart midribs, metacarpal strands, pictured your hands perennially spry and long-fingered inside kidskin boxing gloves. You always called me a good soldier, but I never stopped by your final battle site. Forgive me, comrade. I can't commit to warring alone against the knots and snarls. Grief is the thing with pincers. No one told me she would die, though I could have trusted the toll call. My inky eyes have clanged and dinged for months, knuckled together like castanets, adamant as cymbal sirens, whistly kettle bells. I spied ghost syllables scrawled on sea glass, carved into coral husks, all wet with weaves of salted foam. Sad news, they said. Then a Titan wave tilted its axis and streeled me in, 10 spiny claws akimbo. Coughed up by tides, I dangled feebly from a string of bleeding hearts like clothesline laundry. Hermit shell damp logged, tears welling my pincers, dribbling in streams from petals' bulb bottoms, pink and unzipped. They pooled in sickle moons below me. She might have sought celestial susurrates, Martians' cryptic scriptures inside their conch shells, popped wry percussive womps with bubbled kelp, worn a wig of dillisk. But she left only a little sponge and a sorry sea shanty.
I feel like I'm standing on the south coast of Ireland with this, the sea spray on me. Yes, totally. Somebody also said amazing alliteration. Totally agree. Yeah, great.
Well, chewing over my S sounds with my little lisp, but
Ooh, same. Tell us how heartbreak has shaped you as an artist, as a person.
yeah, so to paraphrase Cierra, the darkness got in for me through heartbreak. So being a reasonably sunny, upbeat, optimistic person, I would describe these two losses as the real life reckoners and soul crushers and the life's work of integrating that grief. So the process of losing faith and then crawling back to it through the darkness and many years of interventions and the work, if you like, and the wound is the way. And then the silver lining of heartbreak, which is resilience and sovereignty, and working with young people who have experienced many dark nights of the soul, whether it's losing a parent of their own or having an organ transplant or health struggles, academic struggles. I'm not afraid to guide them and shepherd them through the darkness. So that's been really integrated with that whole experience of heartbreak and grief for me and alchemizing it into something useful.
Good. I'm glad that both you and Cierra are starting to find that place of rebuilding, and that you can be here and share, I think shows that. And what are you proud of that you're working on right now?
Well, two things. And to circle back to what you said, it was Chris Katz, another US-based writer and amazing initiator, who invited me to co-host the Gut Punch prompts, which are held a number of times monthly. And that has been a way to not only build community and connection, but to champion othered voices and political themes in a way that I would never have foreseen at the start of this year. So it's been really revelatory. So we've had submissions on themes like queer experiences of romance, slavery praxis, post-colonial outcomes, women's experience of loneliness postpartum. So it's been a really nourishing and gratifying way to hold space for others. And for me, the remedy to having been an academic for so many years and having found that a chilly and dehumanizing context, for me, it is heart nourishing to be witnessing this level of vulnerability and honesty and artistry and people coming together to support each other through that. And the second thing, there was something else, wasn't it, what I was proud of? The work I'm doing with students. So this is all feeding my piano teaching praxis, let's say, in terms of we are brainstorming festive songs and putting lyrics to melodies. We are riffing on some of the quotes that I'm coming up with through all of my reading and using those as affirmations through difficult periods or filtering those through in music. So everything is coalescing beautifully and it's all good.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you to our 6 readers who shared in our Thorns. You broke my fucking heart reading. Next month, we're talking about something a little lighter, maybe. It's coffee or imperative beverage. And that'll be, let's see. Okay, well, I'll figure out what time it is. But the first weekend or second weekend in January at the same time with this same link, as long as this link doesn't get compromised. I want to thank Driplet, Ditch Life, and Boulder Poetry Community for publicizing this event. And if any EICs want to publicize our next one, that would be great. We're going to turn over to, oh, thank you. My assistant here says January 10th. 11 a.m. Mountain Time, noon Central, January 10th. Great. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I'm going to start a little shout out portion and going over to our EICs to hear what you're looking for. And thank you for being here, because without you, we wouldn't have a platform. So I want to say thanks first to Alicia, that's my mother, to Patty Francis, who used to push me on the swings. And I was thinking about that the other day. How many people that used to push you on a swing do you still talk to? And Patty was one of them. And I actually wrote a poem about that. And it's in Stephanie's magazine in Quill Keepers Press. Okay, we'll go over to Christiane. I'm going to turn it over to you to talk first.
Hi, hi everyone. My name is Kirsty Ann. I have a press called Red Rose Thorns. Right now we have our main publication, which is an online journal publication. We publish work in any genre, any style, around the subjects of mental health, self-care, gender, and sexuality. It's an ongoing publication, so there's the submissions is on a rolling basis. And you can also submit as many pieces as you wish, again, in any style and any genre. We also have a quarterly print publication that the 4th edition comes out at the end of this month, but then the submission portal will open up again for the 5th edition the second week of January. And then I also just wanted to give a shout out to Rachel. So myself and Rachel have partnered up, and we have acquired her little book, her book of poetry called To Be a Woman, which I'll put the link in the chat so you can look at it. But that book is our first book acquisition, and it is scheduled so far, if everything works out, it's scheduled to come out in the spring of 2026. And that's it. That's me. So I'll put the link in the chat for you to check it out. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you. I also see Amber from Orange Rose.
Hi, Rachel. Thanks for inviting me to come talk about this. So over at the Orange Rose, we take pretty much anything. Right now, we have submissions open until December 15th, and we are taking prose that's either fiction or creative nonfiction up to 3,000 words, poetry of any length, as well as art and photography, as long as it's your own work. And we take any genre as well. It's an open theme for this current issue. So that ends on December 15th, and we will open up again for submissions sometime mid or late January for another open theme issue for issue 5. And around the same time, we will also be opening a special themed mini issue that we will be announcing the theme later on once the new year happens after Christmas. So that's what we've got going on right now.
Thanks, Amber. Amber does a great job of shouting people out, which takes a lot of time. If I started to do this process where you create a bio for somebody and a page, it's very time consuming, and you do that really well. And so does Kirsty. Really appreciate that. Stephanie's not able to talk right now, but she is the EIC over at Quill Keepers Press, and they have a call, Unfinished Conversations, for their next anthology. So check them out. And they also have a call for full-length submissions if anybody has something ready. I also want to say thanks to my husband and my stepdaughter, Catherine and Zach Stewart. They're on here too. Okay, does anybody else, do we have any other EICs that I don't know? Maybe the name that's listed here. I see some people that are going to be joining us in the future. Ooh. And I see some of our friends from the past. Thank you, Candace and Sandra, for being here. Does anybody else want to add anything, share anything, do a shout out, post in the chat? Okay, I will be.
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
just wanted to say that this was a lot of fun and the work was incredibly vulnerable, and just thank you for inviting me to do this, and cheers to and slancha to everybody that read, because it's very, very moving. That's all I'll say before I get emotional. So, but thank you again very much.
Thank you, Derek. I'm not sure if this one was that fun, but it was definitely very good to be here with you. A final thing I have been doing is taking notes about what you say, and then I put those into like a little finding what are the kind of rhythms and rhymes and patterns. This is called a kind of a makeshift in vivo coding. And then I'm going to put this into a word cloud generator that'll show what people said the most. And I can already tell some really interesting trends from that. Cierra is going to take the cake, haha, harkening back to your book title, with darkness, which she repeated several times. I thought it was really interesting that only one person mentioned God, which I think is a commentary on our society. I also thought it was very interesting how many people mentioned leaving, but then Derek mentioned that he was leaving. So I thought that juxtaposition was interesting. And I'll be posting that on turneytalks.com and on my Instagram at turneytalks. Thank you, everybody.